Understanding patterning on the one-to-number board is an essential element to eventually being able to do multiplication. The visual help provided by the colored factors on the board will make memorizing times tables significantly easier.
On the one-to-number board, patterning is a very essential concept that the kids have to learn by putting chips on the board according to the patterns of numbers. The first pattern we're going to look at is the multiples of 2. We have the 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. And the second row, we also have 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20. Then we have 22, 24, 26, 28, and 30. And what happens is if we continue this pattern, it grows to the end of the board and we have all the even numbers covered with multiples of 2. The second multiple we're going to look at are the multiples of 3, which is the pattern of 3s. We're going to change the color and we're going to do the 3s. The multiples of 3 follow a different type of pattern. The first pattern was straight up and down. This pattern will be a little different. We have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27. As the kids fill out this pattern, the pattern changes the direction. So the pattern for the 3s is much different than the pattern for the 4s. And the kids begin to realize this by doing the patterns and comparing them. The next pattern we're going to do is the multiples of 4. The 4s are going to be very similar to the patterns of 2s. We have 4, we have 8, we have 12, we have 16, we have 20, 24, 28. And this is a pattern of the 4s which is similar to the pattern of 2s, except there will be some skips in between. The next pattern is the pattern of 5s. We take some other chips and we count 5s. We have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, and the pattern of the 5s goes straight down 2 separate rows, the 5 row and the 10 row. The next pattern would be the 6s. We'll take some different chips and we'll cover the 6s. We have 6, we have 12, we have 18, we have 24, and we have 30. And as you're doing the pattern, you can see that the number inside the box matches the purple 6. So as the pattern grows, the kids can follow the pattern of 6s or they can do the multiples. If we go further down, we have 36, and then we have 42, and then we have 48. And that pattern continues in 6s throughout the board. And all that pattern follows the colors of 6s. The next pattern is the multiples of 7. We'll take some chips and cover the 7s. We have 7, we have 14, we have 21, we have 28, 35, and 42. What the kids are doing now, following the pattern of the 7s, and whenever they find an orange 7 on the board, they put a chip there to cover the 7s all the way to 100. To cover the patterns of 8s on the one-to-number board, what you do is you take some chips and you cover the multiples of 8 by covering the brown 8s. We start off with 8, and then we have 16, and then the next number of 8 is 24, and the fourth one is 32, and the fifth 8 is 40, and the sixth 8 is 48. By covering all the 8s, you'll cover all the multiples of 8 from 0 to 100. The next pattern is the pattern of 9s. We have 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, and we see that we're making a diagonal pattern across the board of all the multiples of 9. The last pattern is the multiple of 10s, which cover the board going straight down from the multiples of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, and that brings us to the end of the patterning. An important thing to do with the patterning is to have the students color in the activity. What we do is, first, after the students have put the chips on the board, you can take your black line master, make copies of that, and have the students color in the pattern that matches the color. For example, the first multiples that we did were the multiples of 2s. And here's the black line master. And if you color the 2s in blue, we end up with a pattern of the 2s. And what I did in the past is had all of my kids color in all the patterns, keep this in a notebook so you have a reference of all the multiples. And it gives you a good idea of the multiples of different numbers from 2 through 10.